If a cavalry commander were to descend from heaven, he would look like Peshwa Bajirao. In the long history of Peshwas, there was never anyone like him, neither before him nor after him. Historian Jadunath Sarkar once wrote this about one of the most dangerous warriors in Maratha history. Peshwa Bajirao was not just a warrior who defeated the Mughals, he also crushed anyone who dared to support them. He became the Peshwa at the young age of just 20. After that, he fought around 40 battles in his lifetime and he did not lose a single one. Such was his reputation that Mughal Emperor Muhammad Shah was once ready to flee Delhi out of fear of Bajirao. In today's video, we will explore all these stories and we will also see how Bajirao once held Delhi under his control for 3 days. Bajirao Ballalji Bhat, that was his full name. He was only 20 years old when he became the Peshwa in 1720. This was a time when the Mughal Empire had already begun to weaken after the death of Aurangzeb. The situation had become so unstable that the Mughal Emperor Farrukhsiyar was assassinated and a weak prince was placed on the throne of Delhi. Across the country, many small and large powers were rising. At the same time, Mughal authority was steadily shrinking. When Bajirao took charge as Peshwa, the Maratha Empire began to expand rapidly. Under his leadership, Maratha power spread across large parts of India, from Karnataka in the south to the Doab and Delhi in the north, from Gujarat in the west to Bundelkhand in the east. Bajirao raised the flag of Maratha victory across these regions. On November 12, 1736, Bajirao began his march towards Delhi. With a cavalry force of nearly 50,000, he crossed Bundelkhand and set up camp on the banks of the Yamuna river, just about 65 kilometers from Agra. Soon after, Maratha general Malhar Rao Holkar crossed the Yamuna and captured several towns in the Doab region. His army eventually reached a point just 18 kilometers from Delhi. When news of the Marathas reached Delhi, Mughal Emperor Muhammad Shah was shaken. In panic, he ordered the entire army to march out and confront them. The governor of Awadh, Sadat Khan, also arrived with his forces. A fierce battle followed between the armies of Holkar and Sadat Khan. In this clash, Holkar was defeated. He had to retreat and move back towards Gwalior, where Bajirao was already stationed with his army. Meanwhile, Sadat Khan joined forces with Khan Bangash in Mathura. From there, he sent a message to Delhi saying that the Marathas had fled and would soon be pushed back beyond the Chambal river as well. Hearing this, Emperor Muhammad Shah was relieved. Surrounded by courtiers who praised him and repeated the same news, he believed that the Maratha threat was over. But the reality was very different. Bajirao was preparing a move that would shock the Mughal court. In Mathura, Sadat Khan's camp was celebrating what they believed was a victory over the Marathas. Then one day, a soldier rushed in with alarming news. The Marathas had reached outskirts of Delhi. Sadat Khan was stunned. It felt as if the blood has drained from his face. To reach Delhi, the Marathas had to pass through Mathura, where Sadat Khan himself was stationed with his army. So how had they managed to get there? There was only one reason: Peshwa Bajirao's extraordinary presence of mind. After Chhatrapati Shivaji, if anyone showed such sharp military wisdom, it was Peshwa Bajirao. Bajirao knew exactly where Sadat Khan was stationed, so he quickly changed his plan. Instead of taking the expected route, he marched towards Delhi through the mountainous region of Mewat. This route was shorter but much more difficult. However, as I mentioned earlier, Bajirao was a brilliant cavalry commander. He always used lightly armored horses in his army. These horses could move fast and travel smoothly even across rough terrain. Because of this, a cavalry force of nearly 50,000 men managed to cross the tough hills and rocky paths of Mewat without much trouble. Just imagine this. Such a massive army covered nearly 60 kilometers in only 2 days and finally set up camp just 12 kilometers from Delhi. This time, Emperor Muhammad Shah was terrified. He broke into a sweat. His throat went dry. He knew that if the Marathas attacked Delhi, he might not survive. But Bajirao did something unexpected. Instead of launching an immediate attack, he sent a clear message to the Mughal court. He said that both sides should agree to a treaty. If there was no response by noon, he would march in and take Delhi. Sadat Khan's army was still far away, so the Mughal court had very few options. The only real choices were to sign a treaty or for the emperor to escape overnight across the Yamuna river by boat. This showed just how desperate the situation of the Mughal emperor had become. While these discussions were going on, a Delhi commander named Amir Khan stepped forward. He offered to fight the Marathas. He had a force of about 12,000 cavalry and 20,000 infantry. The emperor agreed and gave him permission to attack. Amir Khan formed a defensive line. His plan was to block the Maratha army and wait until Sadat Khan's forces arrived to support him. It was a careful and sensible strategy, but the plan did not last long. One of his own commanders, Amir Hassan, did not like this defensive approach. Ignoring the strategy, he launched a direct attack on the Maratha army. Bajirao sent only 500 horsemen to face Amir Hassan. Seeing this small force, Amir Hassan assumed that the Maratha had only a few soldiers. Confident of an easy victory, he pushed his troops forward and advanced deeper into the battlefield. But this was his biggest mistake. Bajirao was a seasoned commander who had already fought more than 30 battles. He quickly realized that the opposing soldiers were not very strong, so he used a clever tactic. He first pulled his troops back and allowed Amir Hassan to move even further forward. Then, at the right moment, Bajirao launched a sudden counter-attack. By the time Amir Hassan understood what was happening and tried to recover, it was already too late. He was captured by the Marathas. Mir Hassan's action ended up giving the Marathas a clear advantage. Victory was now firmly in their hands. For a moment, it seemed that Delhi would once again face plunder. But Bajirao chose a different path. Instead of attacking the city, he decided to withdraw his army toward Ajmer. His letters reveal that he had no intention to looting Delhi. Meanwhile, Sadat Khan's army was slowly moving towards the capital. After holding control of the situation for 3 days, Bajirao decided to pull back. The defeat near Delhi deeply shook Emperor Muhammad Shah. He realized that many of his generals could no longer be trusted. So he called the powerful Nizam ul-Mulk of the Deccan to Delhi. When the Nizam arrived in 1737, he was welcomed with great ceremony. Emperor Muhammad Shah himself stepped down from his throne to greet him. The Nizam has showered with gifts and honored with the highest title of the Sultanate, Asaf Jah. But behind this grand welcome, there was a hidden purpose. Muhammad Shah gave the Nizam a free hand. He told him to spend as much money as needed, just drive the Marathas out of Malwa and Gujarat. The emperor also made another promise. He said that the Nizam's son, Ghaziuddin, would be appointed the next governor of Gujarat and Malwa. With this assurance and reward in sight, the Nizam began his march toward Malwa. The Peshwa was still busy fighting the Portuguese, but as soon as he heard about the Nizam's advance, he quickly prepared his army of nearly 80,000 men and marched to confront him. In December, the two forces finally faced each other near Bhopal. The Nizam entered the city and waited for the Marathas to arrive. But this move actually gave the Marathas an advantage. They surrounded the entire city of Bhopal and cut off all supply routes. Soon, food shortages began inside the city. The pressure slowly pushed the situation towards a major battle. The Nizam was not alone. The army of Sawai Jai Singh was also fighting alongside him. But the clashes between the Marathas and the Nizam's forces were extremely fierce. In the end, the Nizam was forced onto the defensive. Meanwhile, Sadat Khan's son, Safdar Jung, tried to march toward Bhopal to help the Nizam. But Bajirao intercepted him before he could reach the city. Now, the Nizam was completely trapped. Bajirao had tightened his grip around Bhopal and put the Nizam's army under tremendous pressure. At one point, the Nizam considered escaping from Bhopal, but the Marathas had surrounded him so tightly that retreat was almost impossible. Finally, he had no choice but to agree to a treaty. On January 7, 1739, the Treaty of Doraha was signed. Under this agreement, the Peshwa gained control over the province of Malwa and also secured a territory between the Narmada and Chambal rivers. So friends, that is why Peshwa Bajirao is remembered as one of the greatest leaders in Maratha history. In a time when the Mughal Empire was still powerful and regional powers were rising across India, Bajirao defeated two of the biggest forces of the era. Through speed, strategy and brilliant leadership, he expanded the Maratha Empire across large parts of Indian subcontinent. He fought nearly 40 battles in his lifetime and remarkably, he never lost a single one. Bajirao was not just a warrior, he was a master strategist who understood mobility, surprise, and timing better than most commanders of his time. And that is why, even centuries later, his name is remembered as one of the most fearless and successful cavalry commanders in Indian history. If you enjoyed this story, do share it with others, because the more we learn about our history, the better we understand who we truly are. Thank you very much.